The At Your End Step podcast is brought to you by Comic Town. Check them out at www.comictown.net and search for Comic Town Gaming Center on Facebook. Hello, and welcome to At Your End Step. My name is Morgan, and I am here with Mike.
Go Cavs.
And Dave.
Boo.
Dave, we're sorry that something isn't going your way at some point in time.
He has no horse in this race, and yet he's just being sad.
I know. You even, can't you just, cheer for Cleveland?
I can say the Cavs beat the Celtics. So.
I gave you congratulations when the Pats won the Super Bowl. I did that. No issue, fine. No hard feeling. And you were just sitting here, upset that anyone else can do well. I mean, the Celtics going to win, everyone else is terrible.
Obviously the Celtics were going to lose. But
all right,
I told you I would like the Cavs if they didn't have LeBron.
Oh,
end of story.
Interesting.
That is a personal.
It's like saying, I'd like this if the best thing about it didn't exist.
Yeah.
All right, that's cool. It's not a team effort or anything like that. No, it's fine. Anyway,
I just considered an avenue for a joke, but probably included some sort of weird crack about terrorism that isn't funny. So I'm going to stop.
Best not touch on that. Anyway, so sorry about missing last week. We had some things that came up and caused us not to be able to cast, but it's not a big deal.
It's a big deal.
Of course, it's a big deal.
This is our glorious return.
Correct.
Herald as necessary.
Yes. All right. Well, we're back. Obviously, sorry if you missed us.
Yeah.
We obviously have a bunch of stuff to talk about, especially with Modern Masters 2015 being released and us being able to get our hands on it and actually play with the set a little bit. So we want to talk about that, and then we also want to talk about the competitive things that happened. We're going to focus on what happened last week, and we know that we missed a week, but we might be touching on other things that we may have missed, but probably not highlighting any of those things. And then we're also going to be discussing the upcoming Invitational, as well as technically GP Charlotte, since we'll be going to both. At least the majority of us will be going to both. And Dave puts his head down because he unfortunately cannot, attend GP Charlotte.
I have too many tournaments to attend next month, so I cannot attend Charlotte.
But both of them being modern, so we thought we'd focus this week's episode about modern, and then our deck choices for those tournaments, at least for the Invitational, and then kind of go from there, and then do our typical wrap-up stuff. So let's go ahead and get started with the community. So obviously, Modern Masters 2015 came out this weekend on Friday, and there was definitely some highlights and some lowlights as far as the set is concerned. So one of the negative things that's been happening is with this new packaging, and if you haven't seen it, it is recyclable packaging, so it's basically cardboard. They're little cardboard boxes that you crack open, like the cereal boxes is what they remind me of.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. Like the little individual ones.
Right, exactly. They're not resealable, unfortunately. Well, unless you've seen some YouTube videos of that, which apparently, someone put the YouTube video up of how easily repackageable these are, which I don't think that's the case. I opened packs, and my glue on my packs was there and was able to keep my cards sealed.
Yeah, I feel like there could be some packs, maybe. I mean, there was enough packaging issues that and we're going to talk about some of these things that we saw. But a couple of people also did their own homework on this, including like Chase Andres did as well for Star City, and said that it was pretty difficult to make it not look like you messed it up or ding the package. That being said, it's still probably safest to not go onto eBay and be like, oh man, I can get packs of Modern Masters for $6.
Yeah,
it's a pretty good deal, because then there's a good chance you're going to get a bunch of, I don't know, rusted relics. Lodestone mirrors and Apocalypse Hydras.
Yeah. So best if you're going to buy loose packs of Modern Masters 2015, buy them from reputable sources. That would be the best route to take.
Sources?
Reputable sources.
Reputable.
I detest you right now. Anyway, so the other bad news with this packaging is that we've noticed that some of the cards are getting damaged. I would say it's still sleeve playable, but Like if you try to sell them, you're not going to get near mid value for opening them fresh, pack fresh, which is kind of unfortunate. I've definitely seen like weird printing errors and like the backs getting
We had that
marked
happen in my second draft.
Yeah.
My rare, which was only a midnight banshee, so nothing crazy, but like looked like it had been like somebody had cried on the back of it. Like there were a bunch of drops with ink smeared on the back. It's like, this is strange, but the edgings have also been just terrible on them.
Yeah.
I mean, you can shake a pack back and forth. Like if you just took a pack back and forth, you've damaged the sides of your cards. Like you just have.
I think I know how that happened. Somebody opened it and then cried because they opened the Midnight Banshee and then repackaged it and then that's
yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
I
Actually,
don't know. It was pretty good in your draft deck. So
it was good in my draft deck.
So, yeah, that's been kind of unfortunate, and it might hurt some of the values of these cards as they get released. I mean, people might actively not pursue Modern Masters 2015 versions of cards just because they're particular about how their cards look. So, I mean, that's pretty interesting. Also, like it would suck to open like a Tarmogoyf and it'd be SP right out of the packaging.
Hooray! It's only worth $150.
I mean, Tarmogoyfs have actually been dropping in price pretty rapidly since the set's kind of come out. You can pick up a Tarmogoyf for like 150 when they used to be like 180. So I think, depending on how aggressive you get, then yeah, you can really find some sweet deals on some mythics that did get reprinted twice, like Vidili Click and stuff like that. So it's pretty interesting to see how the market kind of is reacting to the set release. Now, there's also been some weird printing issues, actually, with the cards as well, or more collation issues. So, like how the packs are actually put together. So, we've had reports of people opening double foil mythics. Is that correct?
Yes.
That sounds amazing. Can we always have this error? Is this always an option?
Yeah,
That's a monopoly error.
This is on the good side. So
Bank error in your favor. Collect 2 foils.
Oh, I was gonna say $10 still, but it's fine.
Yeah, Anthony Avatalo had a Twitter. He had a picture on Twitter of a foil Elish Norn, foil Primeval Titan, and Guile, which
Guile,
I mean,
That sounds-
they can't all be winners,
Yeah,
good card.
I've heard that's quite tricky.
It's the best of them.
And I believe Vedanto Wajaya also replied, said that he had a pack. Either he had a pack or he was around someone that opened a pack that was also like this.
Yeah, it was-
in a draft. And he decided to pass it along instead of getting up and trying to leave with the double foil pack.
Oh, he said he opened the same pack as the rare was Mox Opal. And
Oh,
the
okay.
common was a Dismember. Oh, sweet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, seems good.
Interesting. Yeah, and then another weird thing that happened is someone opened a case of Russian Modern Masters 2015, and many of the foils were Rusted Relics. A total of, I believe, over 60.
It was like 66 or something.
Yeah, it's some ridiculous
The
number.
picture of them, it was 69 out of 96 possible foils across his case. And the picture of them all set up on a table was actually unreal.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. So some weird printing collation issues that have sort of happened with this. And if our listeners have personally experienced any of these, we definitely would like to hear from you. In all honesty, so comment on the post or send us an email or tweet and tell us about your funny Modern Masters 2015 opening stories or anything like that. So, but the good news is the draft format actually is pretty engaging. We did get a chance to draft at least once or twice with the set over the weekend, and you can't really draft those a whole bunch at $30 a pop. Sometimes it's a bit dicey. So
And that's pretty good too, because that's for the Go Infinite drafts.
correct. That's just basically get packs, draft them, and then if you win, you get to do another draft or 3 packs. So
But a lot of other ones I've heard of are more expensive.
right, correct. Especially if
From
you're
35 to like 50.
yeah, if you're factoring in price support and stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, I only drafted twice, once in store, and then we had a box that we were able to draft out of store, and I was able to draft like 2 different archetypes. The first archetype I did was Blue-White Artifacts, and that was fairly straightforward. I think it's probably one of the more easy to draft archetypes in the set because everything is kind of set before you, and you don't necessarily have a whole lot of choices to make in doing the draft. And typically, if you can get into it early, you can try to cut it off and send good signals down the way. And then I drafted green-white tokens, and that was also pretty interesting. It definitely feels like the one that I drafted was definitely like the creature heavy deck with little to no removal, which probably was its fault in general. But that deck also seemed like very real. And Scion of the Wild.
Yes.
Yeah, that guy being common is definitely insane, and he definitely with that deck. It feels like if you have drafted it correctly, it's very much so one of your powerful cards and one of the ones that you really want to have a lot of.
Yeah, I would agree. I actually got to draft 4 times, so I guess I'm the resident expert, and I won 2 of those drafts. So. A lot of people on Friday asking me like, well, what do you think now? I see you here drafting. What do you think now? I still don't think it's very good. I enjoy doing it. Don't get me wrong, but I'm also I like playing Magic, especially with like groups of people I enjoy playing Magic with. So it really wouldn't matter what the set was. Like we discussed on Sunday, we're like, oh, we're gonna get a box and everyone's off for Memorial Day. Let's team draft, and we did that. And that was fun. But I would have done that. I would have done that with Avison. So it's still fun to do. The archetypes are okay. I played green white tokens first and had the nutso green white. Like first pick mirror entity and well, I don't know. You don't even say anything else.
Primeval Titan for value.
Phyrexian Mirror Crusader for value. Like we did okay. Won that draft. Next draft went black white spirits, but was being ended up the guy next to me was also playing sort of spirits, but he was playing like the green, like playing with the Zac deck a little bit too. Got a little awkward. Lost to the 5-color like Profane Command, Banefire, Elementals deck. So I don't think I was beating that deck anyways. And then we did another draft really late at night, and I ended up drafting Domain, and awkwardly got paired against Keller also playing the Elementals 5-color deck. So we played a really weird match, and he ended up getting it. And that archetype felt awful. Like the deck was okay, and it was like you could piece it together, but as soon as you could tell there was someone else at the table with it, then like only the weirdest cards come back around. But once you've tried to push into that archetype, nothing else is cohesive. Like it felt miserable, and so did the Spirits deck. To be quite honest, also felt miserable. Like there was no power to help out your deck except for your bomb rares, like your obscene bomb rares.
Yeah, I saw a black white Spirits deck with like 3 Thief of Hope, and like I mean that's pretty good, but just a lot of your creatures are just 2/2s.
Yeah, there's 2/2s.
It felt like it was. If you didn't get them low enough and then like drain them out with Thief of Hope, it felt like
it wasn't
very great.
like, and like honestly, like when I played Black White Spirits, like I had 2 Midnight Banshees, one of them damaged, one of them non-damaged. But it was like game 1, play Midnight Banshee, my opponent loses. Game 2, my opponent plays Mirror Crusader. I'm playing a black base deck, I lose immediately, and then the next game I play Midnight Banshee and he loses. And it was just like, oh, I'm glad I drafted. Like, I'm glad he drafted artifacts. I'm glad we drafted the archetypes. Oh wait, actually, it had nothing to do with the archetypes. It was just the bomb rares. And then I did draft the double strike archetype on Sunday night, and that was a little more interesting. I think I had to get pretty lucky. I got double Hobgoblin, and like we did a team draft, which was only 6 people, so it may have been more open in that scenario. And that was the one out of all of them that felt the most fun. But I feel like. When you're like that deck feels much more like a combo deck when you get to draft it, so maybe that's just like me getting a little like a little spiky there, just being like, yeah, I can do this and kill this. Overall, though, like the format's fun. I would draft it again. I happen to enjoy drafting these things when I only have to pay once and then I get to keep drafting. So, and like I walked away from the weekend with a bunch of modern cards I didn't have before, and I have 2 clicks now, and I haven't even done clicks before. So it's not like any other format offered me the opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
So that makes me happy. I still think it's an average set, and that sentiment has been echoed very loudly on the Twitters, as it were, and Facebook and such, that it's a little mediocre. It's not Modern Masters 1, and it's not their fault that they made such a good product first that we have to compare it to that. But this just doesn't. I don't know. It's fine. It's fine. I don't hate it as much as I did. A lot of cards still make me very angry when I see them in a pack. Like cards that are like enabling.
Like Frogmite still makes me angry.
Yeah,
because like even if you're playing the artifact deck,
You're
you don't
playing
even
that.
want this.
How
Like,
about the one
why?
mana graft creature? Like even if you're playing graft, you're not playing that card. You're just not going to play that card. It doesn't enable anything. It's a waste of space. So I don't know. It's okay. And I have 5 in Exorbital Tides now, so
Great.
thanks for that one,
Awesome.
Wizards. Even the Proliferate deck doesn't want to cast that spell. It's like 5-mana artifact that doesn't affect the board. Yeah, cool. Let's do that.
It's an enchantment, but that's fine.
I don't even care. My hatred for it is inexorable.
Fair enough. Good
That
job.
was a tide of anger.
Yeah.
Came
So-
over you there.
I don't know. How did you beguile the time, Dave?
Well, I got to play in one draft. It was the same late night one that you were in, and managed to win. Somehow, I didn't think my deck was very good. I drafted blue-black aggro, which I don't know if that's a thing, but just basically took all the vampire lacerators and daggerclaw imps and cloud elementals that I could find. Dimir Guildmage was very good for me. Card's pretty insane.
But what is that card doing in this format?
Drawing cards.
winning games.
I don't know.
Making opponents
Like,
discard
my
cards.
opponent.
Like, what is that card doing in the format? Like, blue-black needed stuff. And that's literally what that archetype
Yeah.
is. So,
Yeah.
I don't know.
It
Whatever.
was sweet. I had a lot of removal, but definitely was underpowered. But I mean, I just had to tempo people out. But definitely got pretty lucky in round 1. Like game 3, my opponent resolved a Karn, and somehow I won. And managed to win game 3 of the finals. It was a crazy comeback, but
It was actually really enjoyable to watch. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
And then Dave got to open his prize packs in front of everybody, which was super sweet.
yeah. So I got 3 prize packs, and I wasn't planning on drafting again. So I'm like, all right, I guess I'll bust him against my better judgment. So definitely opened Apocalypse Hydra, Lodestone Mirror.
Great.
And then we get to the last pack. I'm like, all right, I gotta squeeze this one. I gotta get something here. So I'm like, all right, squeeze it. All right, it's blue. All right.
All right.
And we go to the casting cost. And I'm like, all right, 1 blue, 2 blue, 3 blue. I'm like, oh, sweet, cryptic command. And then I just reveal it. Guile. But it was really funny because like everybody was watching, like everybody that was left at the store, and they're like, "Oh yeah, cryptic command," and then everybody just went crazy when it was Guile.
Oh yeah.
I was really
I just
sad.
wanted like Guile's theme to start playing over the loudspeakers
Yeah.
and it'd just be perfect.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, it didn't happen.
Oh, we found out what the ending theme of this episode's going to be.
Oh, well, yeah, that one's already made for me.
Sonic
Because
Boom.
Stay tuned.
I didn't even know the card was in the set. I was like, God.
The picture of like it's like 2 a.m. too. So
yeah.
the picture of Dave like disheveled with like a ripped up Guile because he
Yeah, I just
immediately
ripped it immediately.
ripped
Yeah,
up Guile in his hands is beautiful. It is just a work of art.
it was funny, but also sad at the same time for me. But anyway, it was a good story.
yeah, and I'm pretty excited. We have a couple more. We have access to a couple more boxes, so
At least 2, right? At least
Yeah.
2 we should draft.
yeah. So we'll at least get into a couple more drafts, and who knows? Maybe if there's an opportunity that arises down the road, maybe I'll give it a chance. But I think it's not like an amazing format, I would say, but it's still not terrible to draft. And like the idea of potentially opening something bomby is really really nice still.
I mean, the consistent issue for me, and the consistent issue echoed on Twitter, and I had a couple conversations on Twitter about it, but just honestly, the people upset, the value just isn't there at $10 a pack. With the if you open a mythic, you do fine. If you open a mythic, you probably do fine. Beyond that, though, like the Guile story is hilarious, if only because he went from
Yeah.
like he went from opening like value and making his entire draft worth it to why even win? Why am I not in bed right now? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and that's not to take away from the play experience. You had fun, you won, but like it didn't feel. Yeah, even right now, like the look on his face, like, well, I don't know.
It wasn't even that enjoyable, to be honest, because I was really tilted from. So I played standard FNM actually. You guys were all drafted Modern Masters, but I wanted to play test standard because I haven't actually played a lot of standard recently, and with the Invitational coming up, I wanted to get some games in. Was really tilted from that because I went 1-2 drop, and then like kind of got talked into drafting, and then got really tilted. And, like my first round opponent was just it wasn't the best, but but yeah, I wasn't even though I won, it wasn't an enjoyable experience.
You didn't feel like you won,
I didn't feel like I won, and I was tired, and yeah.
but you went home, and then you went to bed, and then it was all better.
I will say,
Sure.
I don't know if they're ready to announce this yet. So I will just say, a little birdie told me that a store that we may represent may be doing an F&M Modern Masters draft soon. So I would keep your ears to the ground for that
Yeah,
one.
stay
That'll
tuned.
be sweet.
Stay tuned. All right. Well, that's enough Modern Masters 2015 talk. Let's go ahead and talk about the events that happened over the weekend. So we had,
What's a bigger money sink format than Modern Masters 2?
Legacy.
Oh man! Hey.
So I'll let Dave say it. This weekend, Star City Games was in
Worcester.
Worcester.
No, that's Worcestershire.
Or Worcester.
Oh, Worcester.
That's how my wife, like the first time my wife ever said Worcester sauce to me. Like she's like Worcestershire sauce, and I was like, what? And she was like Worcestershire sauce. And I'm just like staring at her. I'm like, you aren't making this better. Like why?
Where's the Shire?
Yeah, I'm like what? I'm like Bilbo doesn't like this sauce. I want you to understand.
Anyway, yes, it was a grand total of 538 players gathered to play Legacy. The entire tournament was won by Noah Walker playing Grixis Delver, and this is not necessarily a widely seen list. I believe Eric Morel played something similar, maybe a way back, way back. Potentially.
He has played something similar to this in the past.
Yeah, and Dave, being a fan of the Grixis Delver in Modern, I'm sure you were quite happy to see this list do well.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I mean, I don't really play Legacy, but this might be something that I look to if I play in another Legacy and Standard Invitational, for example.
Sure.
So yeah, it's pretty cool. It's very similar to the Modern version, except obviously you get all the good Legacy cards and Deathrite Shaman.
Yeah, Gurmag Angler.
Yeah, Gurmag
multi-format all-star.
Gurmag Angler actually got him the win in the finals, so that was sweet.
That's pretty impressive. Who knew a zombie fish could do so much?
Yeah,
I mean,
no task.
1 mana 5/5s, still not terrible.
No,
Still not terrible.
Definitely good for the rate.
Though it is interesting that he doesn't have Tasker purposely and has Gurmag Angler. Tasker in Legacy is a little bit more awkward because of Caracas.
Yeah, that is very true.
So
Yeah, you don't want that happening. Nice Tasker.
He doesn't want to rock us Caracas.
Wow. All right, that was a stretch. He defeated Andrew Jessup playing Elves in the finals, and then the rest of the top four is Lands and Grixis Control, and then the rest of the top 8 is Death and Taxes, Infect, Jeskai Stoneblade, and then Miracles. And we have Kevin Jones showing up playing Jeskai Stoneblade because the man just loves his Jeskai, whether it be Standard or Legacy, and I think that this is a pretty interesting showing for the actual Legacy top 8. In all honesty, a lot of I think there's been sort of an oversaturation of blue in the IQ scene that we've kind of seen, and it's nice to see a little bit more varied. See things like Death and Taxes and Lands and Elves show up. Not that we're Legacy experts by any means, but it's definitely nice to see some other decks kind of show up.
yeah, it was actually pretty cool to see Noah Walker win. And if you haven't seen him play, he's top 8 at a couple of these opens in Standard, actually, and in Legacy both. And he's a pretty impressive player to watch. So, I mean, I liked his deck, and I like watching him play. Also, third place finisher David Long, he was the guy playing Lands. He was pretty impressive as well. I watched a couple of his matches, and he seemed well versed in the deck. He's another guy that's had some pretty good finishes recently with Lands. So
now in the top 16 we have Ross Merriam playing Sultai Delver, and Joe Lawson playing Miracle. Well, no one's shocked there. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they have to.
Miracles decks in the top 16, right?
Oh yeah, they're.
I guess it was 8th place. So it was 8th, 10th, and 12th for Miracles. Deck is still pretty popular.
Yeah,
I think it was the most played deck on day 2.
And 24th. Jeez. That's BBD no less.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of that deck. Like, it's fine. Honestly, like, there's a really old, like, the first piece I ever, like, wrote for Legit was, like, me ranting about, like, not enjoying the Miracles mechanic. And, like, at the time, like, you didn't know which one we were going to break out, but mentioning, like, how a deck that can manipulate the top of his library consistently would be unfun to play against. And Miracles, the deck is a grindy deck. It's a very skill-intensive deck. Not a fun deck to ever sit down and play against. No matter what you're playing, no matter if it's a good matchup or not, it's a slow, grindy affair. And for every player like Joe Lissette or BBD who sits down and does it well, there's a ton of players sitting down at the other tables who cannot win in time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. Like, it's definitely a very skill-intensive deck to play. It's not like you can just pick it up.
Oh, not at
As
all.
we saw in round one, I don't know if you saw that.
I did not.
There was an unfortunate soul that got paired up against Jacob Wilson round one, who he was playing Miracle, or Jacob Wilson was playing Rug Delver, and the other guy was playing Miracles, and it was a bloodbath because he looked like he had not played it before, but
Yeah, well, that'll get you. And you got to start somewhere. I mean, I don't mean to just like say, don't pick up the deck, but I would say if you're just going to pick up a deck, that isn't the one you should be doing. Like, practice, please, because not only do you have to be competent enough to pilot the deck, but once you have an avenue for winning, it isn't just as simple as like, oh, well, I'll miracle a bunch of angels for whatever. It's like you actually have to figure out how you're going to win and stick to a line to win the game. And you can easily just not win the game, but also not lose the game. And then you and your opponent sit in a perpetual 20-minute after the round hell. I've been there. I've been a part of it. I have sat there. I have considered jabbing my pen into my eye to end it. Don't do it. Stop doing it to people.
Yeah, and then CVM playing Omnitel shows up in 15th place as well. So definitely a lot of very good players showing up here in the top 16 of this tournament. So
I didn't even notice this. Eric English finished in 16th.
Mm-hmm.
He's won an open, so that's cool.
That's legacy again. I mean, we're not legacy experts. We're literally here just telling you things that people did. And that's about it.
Before we move on from this, I do want to say there was a pretty cool thing that happened in the last round of the tournament. So both Ross Merriam and Kevin Jones are both near the top of the standings for the Season 2 points leader. Kevin Jones currently in first and Ross Merriam fourth. And they were both X3 going into the last round. And they could have drawn and both made top 8, but they played it out because they wanted to knock each other out. And Kevin Jones got that one, but it was pretty cool because it was just like, you never see that. Had they not had this points race, I mean, I'm pretty sure they would have just drew in. But it was pretty cool to see. Winner gets in, loser goes home in the last round because a lot of times you don't get to see that. Or you might see a match and then it's like, even if the person wins, they have to get in on breakers. So.
Sorry, this is Jurassic World commercial on, and I'm really excited about this movie. I have no business being excited about this movie, but then I see Chris Pratt with on a motorcycle with velociraptors teaming up with him, and I'm just like, I wrote this fan fiction when I was 11. It wasn't Chris Pratt, but it was it was probably just me.
It was you. Let's be fair.
Don't get sucked in, Mike.
That I burst through the door, and my velociraptor children surrounded me, and we went on the hunt. To be continued. I don't know if I ever finished it, but
well, I think someone did for you.
That's all right. I await my check.
So let's take a look at the standard IQ. It had a total of 193 players. A little low, in all honesty. That was kind of surprising. And it was taken down by Abzan Aggro, so that is still definitely a popular deck for a lot of people. And still one of the more popular decks even on Magic Online. So it seems that it's sort of just, kind of a good stuff deck where it's maybe a bit hard to kind of hate out. I don't know. But I haven't actually taken a look at this list yet. So let's kind of pull it up and see if there's anything kind of that pops up. Now, Herald of Torment immediately kind of jumps out at me.
Yeah, that's one that we haven't seen in quite a while. It was kind of in the original builds. And people have moved away from that more recently, but It was pretty interesting.
And something else to note is John McCarthy was the player. He looks like he is employing Archfiend of Depravity in his sideboard. Now that could be due to sort of a minor resurgence of green-white devotion showing up. So I know that used to be the card, the trump per se, against that matchup for Abzan aggro.
Yeah, he just has the one there. He's also playing Valor Stance main, which we haven't really seen.
Yeah, they've been kind of moving away from that, and he is kind of going down on Absent Charms even, only playing 3 to potentially make room for the Valor Stance, which is pretty interesting in all honesty.
Yep, but I mean, he's playing the Wingmate Rocks, which seem to be pretty standard at this point.
Yeah,
The go-to tech to beat this deck has been announced as Elspeth, and once Elspeth's popular again, then Wingmate Rock has to make its glorious cawing return.
yes, bring along a friend.
That's both of them. That was them answering each other.
Yes,
when they come
correct.
flying in.
And there's actually 2 other Abs and aggro lists here in the top 8, along with a few other Abs and control lists, a moderate aggro list, a green-red devotion list, and a Bant Megamorph list, which that deck hasn't been anywhere in a while. So it's interesting to see it show up here in 7th place. Now in 10th place, I see this deck called Red White Dragons, and I want to click on it, and I will.
It's pretty interesting. I think it's close as you're getting to what Red White aggro was a couple months, well, about a month and a half ago.
Yeah.
No Chain of the Rocks.
Yeah, that card is playable now. It's weird how that happens.
And only 1 outpost siege.
Yeah, that card does.
2 more on the board though.
Right, but
So-
you don't want to walk into the
No,
drum with his
for
commands.
sure. See, I like the look of this deck. The cut of its jib. I mean, we talk about Storm Breath. Thunderbreak into Storm Breath is still solid.
Yeah, I've been a fan as of recently. I wonder if white. I mean, red is obviously the heart of the deck here. I wonder if white is really the place to be, or if you're not wanting to, go into black for any reason, and just play Mardu Dragons. When it comes down to it, I mean, I'm sure your mana is obviously a little bit better, but. I don't know. I guess the appeal probably is Hordling Outburst, in all honesty. Like, being able to play that card is a huge a trump in a lot of ways. It's a very difficult card for a lot of decks that don't play Bioblight to kind of deal with, especially game 1. So I could see that being like a huge draw of wanting to go back just to straight red-white.
Yeah, I think we've seen that a lot in Standard recently, where decks that have kind of been written off kind of circle around eventually. Because I think now you see a lot of people cutting Bioblights from their deck, or at least from their main deck in the Abzan decks. So that makes Hordling Outburst a lot more appealing. And honestly, I don't think it's entirely necessary to play Mardu for the Crackling Doom, because I kind of feel like Esper Dragons has been on the decline. Now, not to say it's not a deck, it's still a good deck. But even in this even in this tournament, there's only 1 in the whole top 16. Now this is just 1 tournament and 1 result, but I kind of feel like that deck has kind of been on the decline the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, and I don't disagree. And we'll talk about it more when we get to the end here. But I do think that actually bodes well for it at the Invitational, because all of these Abzan decks are starting to do like even you were talking about this, Dave, about how if you're going to play Abzan, you needed to. They're starting to get inbred. They are starting to get inbred too. You see the number of like self-inflicted wounds on the board of like Abzan aggro, and that's not the worst card against dragons, but definitely like you see those cards coming in. You see like the winning Abzan aggro deck is back down to 2 Thoughtseize instead of 4 Thoughtseize like we were a couple weeks ago, which is one of the ways that deck beats Espers by always having 4 Thoughtseizes. So it's sort of interesting. And the list, the dragons list, the top 8 or top 16, I should say, is a little odd. It's only running 2 Dragonlord Ojutais, and it's back to running Narsets. Also only running 26 land, with only 2 Anticipates. I can tell you, this deck is thirsty. I mean, super thirsty. So
These pretzels.
making me thirsty. So this deck's interesting. It also doesn't play any Havens, and I guess so like. Its win conditions are light, like super light. So I mean, I give him credit for making it through here with this, but man, this is a bit of a throwback version of this deck.
Yeah, I'm looking at this list now. This is pretty interesting. This is like you said, it's a throwback. This is just kind of like,
Like,
this
this is like
is like the Shaheen Serrani.
Yeah, the Shaheen deck. Yeah, that's exactly it. So, it's got another. It's got some Ashocks in the board, so other ways, and this one's playing the Pearl-like Agent, which I was sort of on early in the format. So, yeah, it's a little interesting. I would like, obviously we don't get a metagame breakdown because this was a 5K, not an open, and honestly, who knows what a 5K metagame really equates to in Boston. You know what I mean, compared to the Invitational.
Yeah.
So, but I think it is interesting to see it fall off and see how these decks you were talking about how can an Abzan deck beat how do they beat the Deathless Raptor version of this? How do you do this? How do you do this? And the more they get inbred, the more those decks start playing things like all right, well, I need more Bile Blights if I'm going to be able to beat all these Deathless Raptors. And Thought Season's very good if they're all playing Deathless Raptors. Let's cut all those, and we need more removal. And the more they move into big removal packages and less disruption, then Esper Dragon's is like, hey guys, Ojutai back. So
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, I feel like the format has fully adjusted to Esper Dragons being around. It kind of took a couple weeks, I think, for people to adapt, but you knew it was going to happen.
true, and I think Esper Dragons can adapt as well because as you see here, there's also only one mono red deck in the top 16.
Yep.
And it's not, it's just straight mono red. It is not a Tarka red, which these Abzan decks are pushing that out of the format as well. Which then all Esper has to do is bet a game for Abzan essentially. So I'm excited to see where we go from here. And Abzan obviously is asserting itself as, no matter what you're doing, it's definitely dominant. Poor Jeskai. Sorry, guys. Teamer, you managed to make it in here. Mardu, nowhere to be seen. You know what I mean? Like, this is really the cons that time forgot.
I definitely want to give a shout out to Siggy, Mike Sigrist, showing up in the 14th place, playing the Abzan Megamorph control list that is similar to the one that Ichikawa played in Shanghai.
Yeah, I like this deck.
Yeah,
I am considering it for the
it is in consideration.
He's considering spending $100 on Deathless Raptors so he can even play the deck.
Oh, no, I'm not buying them. I'm going to borrow them from somebody.
Probably me.
Ooh, okay. Don't let him play this deck.
Don't let him play this deck.
Make him burn $100. Do it.
No, I'm not that terrible.
I am.
I
Can I borrow him?
I may just pick them up anyway.
For
I mean, that
for
card's
why?
going to be good forever.
I don't know about that.
I don't know about forever.
Not forever, but for its time in standard.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know. I don't disagree in that, and that's a different discussion. Like I opened one as a prize pack at that IQ, and I traded it off pretty quickly, just because one, it's not the kind of card I'm really interested in playing, but two, I mean, I traded it almost $30 value. Like, I think it's going to be good, but I don't think that and Ojutai are still holding $30 prices out of Dragons, and the summer notoriously is bad for standard prices, so. I bet you could pick these up for between $15 and $20 in August, as opposed to $30 or $35 right now.
Yeah, I mean
Hashtag MTG Finance.
I mean, loose financial advice. Who knows if that'll come into fruition?
I found a nickel once.
Like, is that how you judge your financial advisors? How much money have you found lately?
I mean, if they're good at finding it.
Just like on the ground, just wherever.
I mean, couch cushions,
Whatever.
buses, laundromats.
Stealing from homeless people.
Oh, of course. They're stealing from everyone else. Don't worry. They never mind. I was good.
I don't know where you're going with that.
We're going to move on, just to be safe. All right. Now let's go over to the Modern IQ. Now, for this one, we have 273 players. That means they had, like, nearly 100 more people wanting to play Modern than they did wanting to play Standard, which I think is pretty interesting.
Bill?
That is exactly what that means.
Whoa.
Listen, if you're going to undermine me, then this podcast is not going to go as well as we'd like it.
I'm sorry. Just this had, by my count, almost 100 more players than the other one. By your count? By anyone's count. You didn't do any math?
You don't know that.
Did you have to do math?
No.
Could you not tell which number was bigger? I will stop making fun of you if that's the issue. We will get you a tutor.
No, I'm an adult and I can math.
I mean, you're not the only one. I mean, Ichikawa played 61 cards. He's bad at math too.
No, it's a statistical.
That's not true. I listen to Top Level. I know the story. He said he was afraid of cutting the wrong card, so he didn't cut any cards.
I mean,
It worked out, yeah.
why not?
This is awesome.
Anyway, so it was won by Tiber Delver. Wait, we're talking about Modern, right?
Yes.
Jerry T called this list Modern circa 2012.
Yeah, but Jordan, was that
Jordan.
Jordan Boisbert is what I'm going to say.
I think it's very French. I think it's Boivet.
It could be. I'm not going to judge
I
him.
guess.
Sure.
Boisvert.
Boisvert.
We're butchering his name. Sorry.
Yeah,
man.
who cares? He's getting his hoot on, playing some Hooting Mandrills.
No, so the actual name of this deck list, as I saw it, was Curious George. That is the name I was posted, and that's what the state. Like I was like, oh man, that's the perfect name for this deck. Is definitely like playing Curiosity, playing Hooting Mandrills, Curious George.
Done. We did
That's
it.
Pretty sweet.
We did it. Correct. All right. New name. Curious George. So yeah, 4 Delver of Secrets, 4 Hooting Mandrills, 2 Snapcaster Mage, 4 Tarmogoyf. All right. Fair enough. I own all those cards. I can play this deck. Done.
You have the lands. You can play it.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
have the lands.
Jordan will go by Jordan Logic. Clearly, this works here. His
have
name
all
is
the lands.
Jordan. I have all the lands. I can play this deck. No.
I don't have 4 Tarmogoyfs though. So.
Oh, that's rough. Need those. So playing 2 Curiosity and 4 Disrupting Shoal. So he's getting some pseudo, some pseudo free counter action going on here. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, he could definitely. My assumption is he wants to counter Lightning Bolt and Path to Exile. Like that's the idea here. And Disrupting Shoal has 4, 8, 12, 15. 16, 17 1-mana blue spells to pitch off Disrupting Shoal, I guess, and Delvers as well, so even more. So he is definitely trying to make sure that his guys are surviving those little lightning bolts and Path to Exiles.
Yeah, but the thing that I don't understand is like his creature package is actually pretty resistant to Lightning Bolt. I mean, Hooting Mandrills and Tarmogoyf are usually bigger than.
Sure, but
Bolt
you still have Path.
Well, yeah, Path. I could even see maybe Thoughtseize depending on your hand, but
Right. Flame Slash.
I don't know. I mean, it's definitely weird. We haven't seen 4 Disrupting Shoal in Modern for quite some time.
Unless you consider, Ninja Bear Delver as being a...
Is that, I mean,
It's not
that's
real.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing I will say, and a couple people pointed this out, is that the interaction between Goyf or Mandrills and Stubborn Denial is pretty insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that's one advantage that this version has over the more popular Grixis Delver list. Stubborn Denial is pretty hot if you can support it. Definitely, it's missing the more, I guess, hard removal that Grixis has. It doesn't play Murderous Cut or Terminate or anything like that, so it's more reliant on it basically just Lightning Bolt for removal. So this one, it feels like, is playing more of a tempo game.
But it didn't even have it didn't even have Vapor Snags. Like it's
in the main. It has on the
Simic
side.
Charm, though.
It does have Simic Charm.
That was 4 Huntmasters in the board.
Yeah.
This is your Huntmaster deck, Morgan. We found it.
But I mean, like, we Dave and I were discussing this beforehand. We don't think Huntmaster's that
I
good
don't
of a
think it's
card.
even good.
Oh, it's a good card.
Okay, in the format.
I understand, but I was like, it's a good card. I mean, you could say this is a flash in the pan, but this is that it doesn't have much reach. So this is something he had to have played very, very well to take down this tournament. Like,
Especially this size.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to take anything away. I mean, it's definitely it's an interesting take. I just don't know if this is something that's sustainable.
But I think that's what's cool about Modern is like he can play this list and know how to play this list. I have no idea how to play this deck. If you handed me this deck and I played it, I would have to be like, well, I guess I hope my gloves are big because I don't know what I'm doing here. But he knows what he's doing, and you can still do that in Modern. I think people. I don't know. I feel like people get too satisfied with playing, and it's a very diverse format, so you can play whatever you want. But there is a reward for playing something strange like this when you know how to play it, and your opponent has no idea what's coming next. If you Stubborn Denial their spell, and the next turn, they try to kill your guy, they try to bolt your Delver, and you Simic Charm it and pump it +3/+3, your opponent's in their head going, I don't know what's coming next.
Curiosity. That's what's going next.
Curiosity. So. Definitely interesting. Definitely a cool list. Glad to see something like this take down a tournament. I mean, I don't know what to make of it, but it makes me smile.
Yeah. No, I mean, 100%. It defeated Amulet Bloom in the finals.
That makes me smile
That's
even
not
more.
surprising at all. I mean, the way the way that this list is set up, like it's got so many counter spells, like even more than any other Delver deck. So
Stubborn Isle, your turn 1 amulet. Oh,
just like disrupting shoal. Like you're on the draw, you're just disrupting shoal.
Oh
like,
god, that's insane too.
Jeez, gosh, that had to have happened at some point in time in their games,
That's gross.
where it's just like, boop. Oh, this is basically force of will. Your deck really doesn't do that very well against force of will.
Yeah, the problem that I have with disrupting shoal is like, yeah, you can do cool things like that, but I mean, I don't know how reliable curiosity is as a card drawing spell.
Yeah, I don't know on that one either.
And like, you're kind of 2-for-1ing yourself, and you have no real way to get the card advantage back.
Yeah.
With this one, so.
I mean, so like, I guess Curiosity probably just has synergies with like Mandrills, obviously, with the trample and things like that. So, but I mean, there's other cards that you could just play over that are still 1-mana cantrips. If you really wanted a card that could draw cards.
It's not playing Slight, is it?
No.
So,
No.
I just thought I really hope that again in that Amulet Blue matchup, he definitely got to like disrupting shoal, like something like insane. I was gonna say, I just realized I could do that. Right, disrupting soul is blue card, right?
Yeah.
Never
Yes.
mind. I ruined my own dreams. I wanted him to like be able to pitch a Mandrills and counter a Primeval Titan. Like, but I realized he can't do that. Like in my mind, I wanted that to happen. I'm sorry. Take it all back.
Yeah, that's too bad. But the rest of the top 8 breaks down to Blue Red Twin, Jean de Grixis Twin, Zoo, Esper Zur, and Green Red Tron. So a bunch of different decks.
Did you sneeze?
No, Esper Zur.
What is that?
Esper
Excuse me,
Zur
sir?
is basically a deck that uses Zur the Enchanter as sort of a combo piece to do some pretty gross things.
See, I knew. I just wanted to set it up.
I know. That's all right.
I'm
No,
a good teammate.
you are. Thank you. Thank you for the setup. I appreciate it.
I've never seen Zur the Enchanter.
Really? You've never
played
seen
No,
this
this deck?
modern.
this is. I've seen this a couple times actually. Like,
Caleb Durward played head of you videos on Channel Fireball with this list, I believe. I believe it was Caleb. He usually plays the weird modern decks and stuff like that. So, but I know that it was featured somewhere on Channel Fireball, and yeah, I mean it's not like necessarily super popular, but there was like a small moment in time where this was like a big deal.
Yeah, man, Zur's pretty sweet. I haven't seen this card in quite a while.
Yeah.
So it costs 4, so it costs colorless and Esper colors for a 1/4. So it can't be a replicate, it can't be bolted. 1/4 flying. Whenever it attacks, may search the library for an enchantment card, convert a mana cost 3 or less, put it onto the battlefield. Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet with cards like Detention Sphere, Spreading Seas, Steal the Godhead.
Steal the Godhead?
Yeah.
Throw that on the Geist Saint Draft.
Boo.
Pretty hot.
so, I really. So getting the Thos is insane as well, right? Like,
Oh yeah.
like that's what Thos is in here for. That's an enchantment converting a cost 3 or
man.
less. But also, like, so the best part is you can attack with Zur and with your creatures, trigger it, get Thassa, then make your creatures unblockable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is sweet.
Yeah, so I guess this is just kind of like a souped up Geist deck, really.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And it plays some good value creatures. It's got a Tasker and a Click in there. Just, why not?
Just because. Good cards.
Yeah, they're fine. Also, being able to tutor up a Threads of Disloyalty is fine out of the sideboard, so that seems okay.
It seems, and I would assume this isn't for, like, based on what the other cards in this list, I would assume this isn't because of any specific reason. Like, I wonder why the Duresses aren't Thought Seizes, but that seems a little odd to me. But I guess it's all about protecting your creatures, so maybe you don't care about what their creatures are.
I mean, it could just be card availability in general, so who knows?
I mean, that's why I'm like, I'm looking at this list, I'm like, I don't know what card.
Well, you never know. You never know what happens. Sometimes you just forget your Thought Seizes. Sometimes they're just in your standard deck, and you brought your modern deck.
That's fair.
Yeah. The only thing I can think of is maybe he takes a lot of damage off of his lands.
It is possible. Also, but once again, as you can see some of these obscure Kamigawa lands being awesome. I've definitely just seen testing with Elliot, testing that Geist deck, where like, and I don't know how to pronounce that.
Iganjo.
Thank you. I have no
Iganjo,
idea.
yeah.
But like that with a Geist is actually just insane. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, cool, swing with this one. But like, oh, block. That's cool. Prevent 2 damage.
Yes.
Oh, prevents damage to Zur too. Whew.
And Thassa to a
and
lesser
Thassa,
extent.
and Click and
Tassiger.
Oh, we did
I don't
it.
think you have to worry about preventing damage to
Hey.
Thassa, but yeah. You could do it.
Sometimes we do.
You could do it.
Sometimes that also is a
Have
creature.
you ever played for the Rubbins?
Sometimes you just, you want to make sure your indestructible creature, doesn't take any damage.
I just realized every single creature in this deck is legendary.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Did you just say
Combo.
that?
Did we not just?
We established that.
All right. I thought we did.
Things were established.
I'm hoping I didn't have a stroke.
Yeah. Also interesting to see Green Red Tron kind of show up. We've kind of surmised that Tron might be just Tron decks in general might be well positioned in
It's
the
not
format.
interesting.
Why is it not interesting?
It's a bad deck. Don't play it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. No, actually, I should tell you not to play it either. Yeah, don't play this deck. What are you doing? This deck is bad, and you should feel bad if you play it.
Auto loss. Happened at the IQ last week, like round 5 or 6. I don't remember which. Was like, okay, I'm feeling good about this tournament. I'm X1. Oh, Red Green Tron. Oh, okay. Had an awkward situation like my opponent played a Cavernous Holes and then got up to ask the judge a creature type on a card, and I was like, you don't have to worry, man. It's a Golem. It's Sundering Titan, and I will concede. Like I will scoop it up right here.
Yeah, I definitely I don't want you guys playing this deck. It's not very good against Jund. I mean, Jund's not very good against it, I should say.
No, you're right. It's not very good against Jund. Don't test it.
Anyway,
Speaking of Jund,
yeah, it had definitely had a resurgence. There's let's see, one Abzan list at 16th place, and then like 4 Jund lists in the top 16. So
Yeah.
it seems that Abzan has has lost its moment in the sun, and
Azban has gone to
Azkaban,
the wizard's prison.
and it seems that Jund has been making its resurgence. Lightning Bolt is pretty good, as it turns out.
Yeah.
And people want to be killing turn 1 Delvers and being able to kill turn 1 birds. Yes, Dave.
I like how
yes.
we're all just like, don't play any of these decks. None of these sound good. You should all play. I don't know. Play like really slow affinity. I don't know, like 4-drop affinity. How's that sound?
Like old school Broodstar.
Yeah, there you go.
Old school Brood Star.
I do
Affinity.
like Jarvis used Jund list. I don't know if you took a look at that.
Oh, I've seen all these lists.
I'm sure you have. I don't know. Like I don't know how many replicators really standard in these lists, but he seems to be cutting back on them. I like the Tassiger as well as the Olivia. Like that's pretty cool, and he's gone with the Outpost Siege as well, which is kind of sweet. So I actually like his list a lot.
Yeah. I've noticed people, and myself included, going down the 2 Abrupt Decay and going up to at least 2 to 3 Terminates, because Tassiger and Gurmag Angler do not die.
Terminate.
Now, is it mostly because you don't expect as much twin? Or it's just
It's just actually it's probably just considered like a compromise, basically. It's just to be like, Terminate's not terrible against twin. Obviously, it's not the ideal card you want, but sometimes you just need to be able to kill a big creature, and Abrupt Decay just don't do it, unfortunately. Just don't cut the cheese.
Yeah,
So-
I can see that. I mean, we've definitely seen an uptick in some of these Delve decks. If it's not Grixis Delver, there are Esper versions out there.
Oh yeah, and I mean, like we even saw, that Hooting Mandrills is good enough to see play, sir. So
Sure.
apparently,
I mean, if it can't be Abrupt Decay, can't be bolted, it's probably good in Modern.
yeah, exactly. So you need a way to kill those things, because if you can't deal with a Tassiger, like you as a Jund player, you're probably just going to die to it, because you're just going to die to the card advantage that it presents if you can block it, and if you can't block it, then it's just going to kill you. So and then something interesting that's happening in Jund where we see that. You're going with a full 4 Bobs, but you're also are 100% playing Tassigers of your own. So the cards are good. And the card definitely is something that has kind of taken over Modern in a lot of ways. And a lot of the Delve cards have, in all honesty.
Yeah.
So it shows you how, in a format where you don't have any sort of safety valves that Legacy sees, how dumping a bunch of things into your graveyard and then casting them, whether, it turns out, Treasure Cruise and Dig Their Time are too good, but apparently we'll just, play Tassigers and Zombie Fish anyway, and it doesn't matter.
Sure. Now, going back to archetypes, Jund, I feel like has been picking up steam. We saw Yuki Chikawa had a cool list, and also Jerry T. He's been streaming some dailies with Modern Jund, and he's had some interesting lists. I know he had one that had like Goblin Rabblemaster in it. Mm-hmm. I don't know how well he did with that one, but he's been experimenting.
Yeah. And it just goes to show how, depending on what becomes really popular in the format, obviously the best decks or the established, best archetypes, they do change and shift around a bit. Yeah. So yeah, it's fairly interesting, and we'll talk a little bit more about Modern here later on in the episode. So, you guys just wait. You guys stay put.
I was slightly surprised to. Oh, we moved on.
Oh no.
Oh, okay.
Go.
I was gonna say I was slightly surprised to not see any collected company Abzan lists in the top 16 here.
Yeah, I guess that is true. No elves or anything like that. No Malira company or anything, or an offensive company, depending on what flavor you're looking for.
No, I mean I feel like that deck's been picking up a lot of steam lately. A lot of people have been talking about it, writing about it. I'm really expecting that to be pretty highly played at the Invitational, and probably the Open.
Yeah, I see no reason why that it wouldn't be.
Right.
Especially since when you had the Magic Magic Online Championship and the finals were those two decks.
Yeah.
There's no reason that, since that was the last really big premier play event we had with Modern, to not see it show up in the Invitational. So yeah, maybe it could be that people were prepared this time around. I mean, we see the prevalence of Jund, and I think Jund can be tuned to have a very good matchup against the collected company decks. So maybe they just fell on people who were ready for the shenanigans they were trying to pull off.
It's possible.
Shenanigans.
Yeah,
Stop
it's
your
possible.
instant speed collected company shenanigans.
As opposed to your sort. I'm confused. It's always been an instant.
Okay, I'm just saying. Why did I do? What did I do to you?
Just call me Thrun.
Anyway,
The last troll.
let's go ahead and kind of get a little bit further into Modern, I guess. Let's try to take a look at what we are planning on bringing to the Invitational, and potentially to GP Charlotte, with Modern and the things there. So, Mike, I feel that we've talked the least about what you're probably planning on bringing. So we'll go with you first.
More than likely, I'm going to end up playing Tron.
Blue-White Tron
specifically. I have a couple of decks I've been kicking around. I have a brew I've had in my back pocket for a long time. I've talked about on here a couple of times, which is Modern Red Devotion. It's a deck that has a lot of variance to it, but is extremely powerful. Dave was watching me play a couple games with it last week, and it when it just does its thing, it's just like, oh god, what's happening right now? But I will say the only reason to even consider playing it is if the collected company decks took over. It really thrives in a format, and Modern has not been this format, with a lot very little removal, and those collected company decks play no removal. So that's why I was testing it out again. It's cool. I don't think it's very serious though. As far as actually something I'd play at an Invitational. I've also been working towards Twin and have that available to me. I know I could play that deck if I wanted to, and played Twin pretty extensively at the beginning of Modern. I actually played that deck for a long time in the first few Modern PTQs I played with. So I feel good. I feel good with that deck. I like that deck. But I think Blue-White Tron is still where I want to be. The format is still open to it. All these mid-range decks that are trying to sort of out mid-range each other. Yes, it's kind of awkward. They all have 4 Fulminator Mages in the board, and sometimes you will just lose to the Fulminator Mage draw. But in general, unlike Red Green Tron, the Blue White Tron deck is not a deck that will fold to a single Fulminator Mage. That deck, Red Green Tron can just fall apart when you blow up one of their pieces. They don't have a way to get another one back. Blue-White Tron, you actually just a high enough chance of them having to hit like your Colonnade as opposed to having to hit a Tron piece. So you can play around it. And I think, even going back to that Delver list that we looked at, I feel confident enough with Gifts Tron, with playing that deck, knowing what to Gifts for, knowing how to play in a lot of situations, that I feel like even in an invitational setting where there's a lot of very good players, I feel with that deck I can outplay a lot of people. Especially people who, in standard, people switch around their decks a lot, and none of the archetypes are too drastic and different feeling. I don't want to say, again, I'm not suggesting anything's less difficult to play than anything else, but you don't have the full-on drastic difference. Like, you play Abzan aggro to Abzan Megamorph to Megamorph control. Like, you're playing a lot of similar cards. Like, modern though, like people were jumping into the Bloom deck for a long time there, and you just see people who just like, oh, I want to play this deck, it's really cool, and like, yeah, when it goes off, it's cool, but man, it's really hard to play. So I feel like I can sort of prey on those people who would be trying to play the best deck, metagaming for the Invitational, whereas I can just sit back and go like, I know what I'm going to play, I know how to play all these matches, so more than likely I'll just play what's comfortable to me. No real changes to the list, very similar to the one at the IQ I played, the exact list I played in Richmond. I lost to Burn, who was playing Path to Exile in a 75. That is not a common thing, and I had my own path, and I died.
Yeah, so normally Iona would just be lights
Game
out.
Just
over.
the game. So that was a little awkward. Most lists will not play it. They don't really have room for that card. So, I mean, I guess if you've listened to this podcast enough and you know that I'll be at that tournament if you want a gun for me, there you go. But otherwise, it's probably a waste of a slot. And then I lost to Red Green Tron, which is just unbeatable. And that's how Modern is. They're just decks that are just not good matchups, and you hope to dodge them. But I think in 8 rounds of Modern, and I say 8 rounds hoping to get to play 8 rounds of Modern, I think that I can be the most successful playing the deck that has really, done very, very well for me for the last year and a half.
Yeah.
So.
No, fair enough.
Gives Tron. Is this the part where we wait for the clapping to see which one the audience likes more?
Yeah, sure.
No one's clapping.
That's
Yeah,
unfortunate.
I don't hear anything.
As far as what I'm planning on playing modern-wise, it is going to be Jund. Like I said, I think Abzan has sort of lost its flair, and I've been playing Jund for the past few modern events here locally, and I'm trying to find the right build, the right mix of sideboard cards. It's so hard to really plan for everything, and with Jund, you definitely have some matchups that are so rough. So figuring that out is going to be the hardest part, and deciding on what's actually playing the sideboard is going to be the big deal. But I think that I've kind of found a 75 that I'm pretty comfortable with. So we'll kind of go from there and see what my options are. Definitely look to the other experts that are playing the deck. And see what they are suggesting and being advocates of. I've been trying to talk Willie Idle into writing another article before the Invitational because I need it. I need it real bad, Willie. But he seemed to be a bit busy, which I perfectly find perfectly understandable. So we'll see what happens. I'm pretty confident in my ability to play the black green mid range deck, providing I stop losing to top deck Splinter Twins, which seems to be a running theme in the past 2 modern events that I've played in. So we'll see what happens, but I'm comfortable with that list with those kind of decks in the first place. So I'm excited to actually play Jund. I think I bought Jund, but ended up always playing Junk from the start. So going back and actually being able to play Jund, play things like Olivia. Definitely had a moment where I had Olivia, Liliana, and Huntmaster. Not Huntmaster, my opponent had Huntmaster on the board. It's are we back to standard a few years ago? And I'm like, oh yeah, I remember these. I remember these cards.
Get them Thragtusk in there.
They were great. Yeah, that's what it was. I had Liliana and Olivia, and he had Thragtusk, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember this. This was fun. So yeah, I'll be on Jund. Just good stuff, that deck.
You saying Abzan's not cool anymore?
I think that it's kind of lost its flair. I think that they're...
If you're still playing Abzan, you're not cool.
No, I just think that I think the red cards are just better. They're just better positioned for the format right now. Having a 1-mana answer to Delver of Secrets and Birds of Paradise / Noble Hierarch, or even Glistener Elf, and still having a card that's also versatile to go at your opponent's face at the end of the game is really important, and you just can't have that in Abzan.
Man, I thought the souls were going to linger forever.
Nope. Apparently you don't.
They
You
come
don't
and
have to
go,
let them
yeah.
linger.
You didn't have to?
You didn't have to. You didn't have to.
Let them linger. Morgan was such a fool for you. No?
Nah, yeah, I mean, I was, but then
This
I wised up.
microphone has got me kind of enticed.
No, this is not karaoke hour. Put it back.
Whatever.
It's Dave's turn. Dave, what are you playing?
Clearly Affinity.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually
that's a
actually
year
not
ago I
that
would've
funny.
said
Yeah,
that.
because
Yeah.
you play that for like a bunch of tournaments in a row.
Yeah. No. Grixis Delver. Still. I've been playing, much like Mike playing his deck for a year and a half now, I've been playing Delver for at least a year, but a little bit over a year. So I feel very comfortable with the deck. Had some success recently with the PBTQ and split in the finals of an IQ the next week with it. I've been messing with a few slots in the deck, but I don't really plan on changing too much. Recently added a couple Magma Sprays to the board to give me a little bit more game against the Collected Company deck. But yeah, overall, I mean, it's a pretty standard list. So I don't really have anything cool to go with.
Oh, cool. Good.
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't really been a question for me. I mean, like, I already know what I'm playing in Modern, so Standard's going to be more challenging, which is weird for me.
And that's why we pushed Standard next week, because we actually needed more time to figure out.
Yeah.
We discussed for the cast, like, do you want to do Standard or Modern tonight? And we were all like, I don't know if we're totally sure what we're doing in Standard just yet. So, I don't think it's as bad as last time where we had to build a deck.
No. It's nice having some pre-established archetypes to kind of go with.
Right.
Now, is there a deck that you would suggest people not play?
Suggest that people not play. I don't know. I mean, Modern, like you were saying this earlier, Mike, like, you're just going to play what you're comfortable with. I mean, no.
Oh, no, I
You
agree
didn't
with
say
that.
that.
But I still think there's a deck that you would say don't play.
You think it's a deck that you should not play?
I think it's Blue-White Red Control.
Well, but even then, like, some of the online, like, the dailies, they've been doing well in those.
I don't know. There's a lot of Thoughtseizes and Lilianas in the top 16 of this, and they're really good against that deck.
Yeah.
Like, that deck has a really hard time beating a Liliana of the Veil, and there are a ton of them again. I don't know. I don't see that deck doing very well. I think that's the only deck I can think of where I would say, I mean, beyond stuff like, I don't know, don't play Waste Not, but
I mean, something serious, something that is, actual consideration,
But I would say Blue-White Red Control. It's still not your time.
I guess, like, maybe Infect?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, it's probably not a very good time.
A lot of lightning bolts.
Many lightning bolts.
Many lightning bolts.
Such Jund.
Many lightning bolts.
Much dragon.
Such terminates. Wow. It's definitely hard to admit owning Infect to be like, maybe it's not the best time for it. And maybe to possibly a lesser extent, but Affinity might be a dangerous one to play.
See, it depends, though. I think if the format lines up right, then Affinity can be pretty good.
So, to the same end, there's a lot of main deck Kolgan's commands right now. And that card is a beating for Affinity.
Oh, I know. I play
Yeah, that's
that
great.
card.
I'm a fan.
Let alone the fact that Erupticate is pretty good against them. But essentially, you get to pay one more mana to kill your cranial plating and kill a guy.
Yeah.
And that's just disgusting. It's just disgusting.
I know.
We saw that deck for at least these 5Ks, these Sorcery 5Ks, like, be on top for like 3 or 4 weeks in a row. And all of a sudden, like, Jun's like waking back up. Like, Jun's like, I was out. What happened? Who let Affinity do this again?
Really, guys? All right.
All right. Well,
take care of it.
What did I get? Oh, what's this card? Oh, it's a 2-for-1 for you. Oh, boom, boom.
Bobo. What'd you get us, Jun? It's very own 2-for-1.
Man, you don't even have Snapcaster Mage in your deck.
No, still
sweet, too.
Still good enough. Yes. I understand that the Snapcaster back of the Colgan's command is disgusting. I wish I could live that dream. Yeah. Unfortunately, I can't.
I mean, you could play.
I could play Grixis Delver.
But can you play a Grixis Delver?
No, probably not. Not as well as some people in this podcast. So I'll not.
If we were all three of us trying to like beg for blind flips, I mean,
yeah, the gods can only appease so many. But I think that the suggestions were pretty spot on. So let's go ahead and take a look at what's happening over the weekend. So we have Magic history happening over the weekend. We have the triple Modern Masters weekend. So this is going to be GP Las Vegas, Chiba, and Utrecht. And all three are going to have streaming coverage. Like, you can just watch Magic all the time over the weekend.
Picture within picture within picture.
Yeah. And now currently there are, now this is obviously from our show notes, so not even probably accurate to how many people they have registered, but 7,450 players currently. And I think Dave might be getting an updated number if there is one.
Well, I'm not, but that was as of I don't know, 12 o'clock noon today.
Okay.
So I'm sure that there'll be many more
I
than
imagine.
that, the final number, but yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's going to be the, largest Magic, GP ever. That's technically going to be 2 GPs, which is interesting.
I think it's the largest card game
gathering
tournament.
Yeah, it's going to be breaking a bunch of records. It's awesome to see, and I'm sure that Channel Fireball, Cascade Games are going to have a great event. I'm sure the other events will also be awesome, and I'm sure I'll try to tune in and watch as much coverage as possible, and then. That's really the big thing that's going on this weekend. There is no Star City Games Open. They're sort of taking the week off smartly. When you have over 7,000 players showing up to one event, it's probably going to be hard to run another one.
It's going to be over 9,000.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you did there. That's very clever. So they're taking a week off, and then they'll be back the week after for the Invitational, obviously. And I don't even think there's anything going on locally that we know of as far as that goes. So it's going to be a pretty quiet weekend.
Weekend before we launch into the Invitational,
and then
GP Charlotte, RPTQ, which is sealed. We found out.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
Called Dave and I the dumbest, but we were like talking like we were certain it was standard. We never even looked. We were just like, oh man, this is standard. Nope. Dragon's Fate sealed, which I guess value because it's a free tournament, so free sealed event. But
I'm not worried about value. I'm trying to qualify, but
so nothing like trying to play a bunch of formats back to back. That's never been tricky before.
Yeah, but you guys are like format all-stars, so it'll be fine. You'll be fine.
None of those formats are legacy.
I literally have not played a sealed deck of Cons block.
Cool. Can we do practice ones? Because that'll be fun. Buy a bunch of packs.
I'm not gonna buy packs. I might find some generated ones.
Oh, well, that's less fun.
To be fair, I know the format a little bit and did do fairly well at GP Cleveland, so I don't feel entirely lost.
There you go.
But we've got some help also in the form of Chase Harrell, who was the one who alerted me. So shout out and of appreciation, and already sent me some notes from him doing a number of this because I have not practiced that and probably should have been.
So while you guys are at the regional PTQ, I will actually be attending India PopCon, which is a convention that's held from June 26th through the 28th. So that Friday through Sunday in the Indianapolis Convention Center. So all of you people.
Oh, so you're going to travel with us then?
No.
Oh,
sorry.
Oh,
my bad.
Okay.
Fine.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
I was like genuinely excited.
I apologize, but I will be there. So if you guys are fans of the show and will also be attending, I would definitely like to meet you and hang out with you and get some pictures with you and stuff like that. Because I'll be covering the show on the Magic front. So anything Magic related, I will hopefully be seeing and hearing about and reporting back on the show after that happens. So
can't wait to listen to that.
Yeah, cool. You'll be on it. That'll be great.
That'll be cool. If you want to see Magic players at work doing skilled things, though, Dave and I will be right around the corner playing an RPTQ.
The trolls never stop. Wow.
I'm gonna end the show right now because you're mean.
In all seriousness, that was pretty cool. That I didn't know you were planning on doing that, and then you said you got the media badge, and that was that's pretty cool. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
that'll be
I'm
fun.
super excited about it. So yeah, I hope to meet a lot of people and then come back with a lot of interesting stuff that I see. So, but that'll be it for this week's episode of At Your End Step. We'll catch you guys next time, and you have a great one. Bye.